Marcus Johnson was having a good day. The 34-year-old man had just got a new job deal and wanted to buy some food to celebrate. He went to his favorite food truck in the city center. It was a nice spring day. The air felt fresh as he waited in line. He talked with other people who also liked this food truck. Many people in the area knew Marcus. He had a small building company that helped fix many local shops. He also worked with kids in his free time, teaching them useful skills. This made many people respect him. When it was his turn to order, he got his usual food, a chicken bowl with extra sauce. He paid for his food, said thanks to the owner, and went to sit at a small table nearby to eat. Officer Brian Heller was having a bad day. The 41-year-old police officer had worked for the police for 15 years. He was angry because he thought he should have got a better job by now. His home life was not good either. His wife and he were fighting a lot. Other police officers knew he got angry very fast. As he drove around the city in his police car, he saw Marcus sitting alone at a table. For some reason, seeing Marcus made him feel angry. He parked his car, fixed his belt, and walked over to where Marcus was eating. "ID," Officer Heller said in a loud voice, standing over Marcus without saying hello or why he was there. Marcus looked up, surprised. "Excuse me, officer? Is something wrong?" "I need to see some ID. Now." Officer Heller spoke so loud that people nearby looked to see what was happening. Marcus stayed calm. "Can I ask why? I'm just having my lunch. This area has had drug selling. ID, now." Officer Heller put his hand near his taser on his belt. Marcus slowly took out his wallet, making sure to move slowly and keep his hands where the officer could see them. "Officer, I'm just eating my lunch. I come here all the time. I don't care if you live here. Show me ID or you're coming with me." Officer Heller moved closer to Marcus. By now, many people had stopped to watch what was happening. Marcus gave the officer his driver's license. He did not feel like eating anymore. As Officer Heller looked at the ID, Marcus saw people taking videos with their phones. The food truck owner, Miguel, came out to see what was going on. "Everything looks fine," Officer Heller finally said, giving the ID back. But he did not walk away. Instead, he looked at Marcus's food. "What's that?" "Just chicken and rice," Marcus said quietly. Then, without any warning, Officer Heller hit the food container with his hand, knocking it off the table. "Looked strange to me." The food fell all over the ground. People watching made sounds of shock. Marcus stayed in his seat, keeping his hands on the table where everyone could see them. His face showed he was trying hard to stay calm. "Officer, you did not need to do that. Clean up this mess," Officer Heller ordered, then started to walk away, looking pleased with himself. Marcus did not move. "No, sir. I will not do that. You knocked it over, not me." Officer Heller turned around quickly, his face getting red with anger. "Are you saying no to a police officer?" "I'm saying no to cleaning up a mess you made for no reason," Marcus said. His voice was steady even though his heart was beating fast. What Officer Heller did not see was that in the crowd watching them, one woman was the sister of the police chief. Another was a member of the city government having lunch nearby, and at least 8 people were recording everything that was happening with their phones. The situation got worse quickly. Officer Heller took out his handcuffs and told Marcus to stand up. "You are under arrest for causing trouble and not listening to an officer." Marcus slowly stood up with his hands in the air. "I have done nothing wrong, and everyone here can see that." Just before Officer Heller could put the handcuffs on Marcus, another police car arrived. Officer Daniels, who had worked as a police officer for many years and was known for being fair, got out of the car. She looked around to understand what was happening. Many people had called the police to report what Officer Heller was doing. "Brian, what's going on here?" Officer Daniels asked as she walked over carefully. "Just dealing with someone causing trouble," Officer Heller said, still holding his handcuffs. Officer Daniels looked at the food on the ground, the calm man with his hands up, and all the people watching with their phones recording. "I think we need to talk alone," she said to Officer Heller. "Sir, you can go," she told Marcus. "He is not free to go," Officer Heller argued. "I am trying to arrest him." Officer Daniels moved closer to her fellow officer. "Brian, stop now. Right. Now." Everyone could feel how tense the air was as Officer Heller slowly backed away. Officer Daniels said sorry to Marcus and helped him pick up his things. Miguel from the food truck quickly brought out a new meal for Marcus and would not take any money for it. "This one is free, Marcus. I'm sorry about what happened." As Marcus thanked Miguel, Officer Daniels took Officer Heller back to their police cars, talking to him in a quiet but firm voice. The crowd of people started to leave, but the videos of what happened were already being shared online. By that evening, the videos were everywhere. Local news shows played the footage showing Officer Heller bothering Marcus for no reason and knocking over his lunch. Community leaders asked for something to be done right away. The police department's social media pages were full of people demanding that the officer be punished. Police Chief Roberts called an emergency meeting with the police leaders and the city's lawyers. The videos were very clear. There was no good reason for what Officer Heller did. Chief Roberts had been worried about Officer Heller's behavior for months because she had received several complaints about how aggressive he was, especially toward people with dark skin. This incident, which was recorded so clearly on video, could not be ignored or explained away. The next morning, just 18 hours after it happened, Chief Roberts held a news conference. "The way Officer Heller acted does not match what our police department or our community believes in," she said firmly. "After looking at all the evidence and following our rules, Officer Heller has lost his job, starting right now." The decision shocked many people in the police department. Some officers privately complained that the firing happened too fast, but most knew that the chief had made the only choice she could. The evidence was very clear, and the relationship between the police and the community was at risk. Marcus got calls from news companies wanting to talk to him, but at first he said no. He was not interested in being famous or getting attention. But after talking with his family and thinking about what happened, he decided to use this chance to speak up. He agreed to one interview with a respected local news reporter known for being fair. "I don't hate police," Marcus explained during the interview. "I hate when people with power use it in the wrong way. What happened to me also happens to people who don't have witnesses or cameras around. Those are the people I'm speaking for now." In the weeks that followed, Marcus was asked to join a community group being formed to look at police training and rules. He said yes because he saw a chance to make good changes. The police department, led by Chief Roberts, started new training programs focused on how to calm situations down and how to recognize when people might be judging others unfairly because of their skin color. Officer Heller tried to get his job back, saying he was being blamed unfairly, but the police union did not help him. The evidence was too strong against him, and his work record showed other problems in the past that, while not as public, showed a pattern of bad behavior. 6 months later, Marcus sat in a meeting room at the police training school, looking at new training materials with Chief Roberts and other committee members. What happened to him had been painful, but the changes it started were important. New police officers would learn from what happened, and the department's quick action had started to rebuild trust with the community. Sometimes, Marcus told a group of new police officers during a community meeting, punishment is not just about making someone pay for what they did wrong. It's about growing and getting better. What happened that day was wrong, but what happened afterward shows that things can change when we all ask for better from each other. As he left the police school that evening, Marcus walked past a wall, honoring officers who had served well. A new sign had been added showing the department's new core values: honesty, service, respect, justice. These were good words to live by, Marcus thought. Not just for police officers, but for everyone. The news about Officer Heller losing his job spread fast. Many people shared the story on their phones and computers. Some people were happy that the police chief took quick action. Others thought Officer Heller should have got a second chance. The story was on the front page of the local newspaper the next day. The headline read, "Police Officer Fired After Food Incident." The paper showed pictures of Marcus and Officer Heller side by side. Marcus tried to go back to his normal life. He went to work, met with friends, and tried not to think too much about what had happened. But his phone kept ringing. News people from big TV stations wanted to talk to him. Lawyers called to say he should sue the city for a lot of money. Community groups asked him to speak at their meetings. Marcus felt overwhelmed. He was not used to so much attention. "I just want things to go back to normal," he told his sister Lisa when she came to visit him. They sat in his small kitchen drinking coffee. "I didn't ask for any of this." Lisa put her hand on his arm. "I know, but maybe this happened for a reason. You have a chance to make real change now." Marcus thought about this. He had always wanted to help make his community better. He worked with kids on weekends to teach them useful skills. He helped fix houses for old people who couldn't afford repairs, but he never thought he would be in a position to change how police worked in his city. Meanwhile, Officer Heller was not doing well. After losing his job, he stayed home most days. His wife was upset with him. Their money problems got worse without his police pay. Some of his friends from the police department stopped talking to him. They didn't want to be seen as supporting what he did. Officer Heller felt angry and alone. He blamed everyone but himself for his problems. One morning, Officer Heller was at a coffee shop when a man walked up to his table. The man was tall, with gray hair and a serious face. "Mind if I sit down?" the man asked. Officer Heller shrugged. "Free country." The man sat and put out his hand. "I'm Jim Robinson. I used to be a police officer too, 25 years on the job." Officer Heller shook his hand but didn't say much. "I saw what happened with you," Jim said. "It reminded me of something that happened to me years ago." Officer Heller looked up, interested now. "What's that?" "I was like you. Quick to judge, quick to get angry. I thought being tough was the same as being a good cop." Jim stirred his coffee slowly. "Then I made a big mistake. I hurt someone who didn't deserve it. Almost lost my job." "But you didn't lose your job," Officer Heller said bitterly. "No, I got a second chance, but only because I admitted I was wrong and worked hard to change." Jim looked straight at Officer Heller. "The problem isn't that you lost your job. The problem is that you still don't think you did anything wrong." "Officer," Heller started to get angry, but something in Jim's eyes stopped him. For the first time, he started to think about what he had done from someone else's point of view. What if someone had treated his son that way? What if someone with power had made him feel small and scared for no reason? Across town, Marcus was meeting with Police Chief Roberts. They sat in her office at the police station. Pictures of her family stood on her desk next to a small American flag. "Thank you for coming, Mr. Johnson," Chief Roberts said. "I want to personally say sorry for what happened to you." "Thank you," Marcus said. "But I didn't come here for an apology. I came to talk about what happens next." Chief Roberts nodded. "What do you think should happen next?" "I think we need to look at why Officer Heller thought he could act that way. I think we need to make sure no other officers think they can do the same thing." Marcus spoke clearly and with purpose. "And I want to help make that happen." Chief Roberts listened carefully. She had been a police officer for 20 years. She had seen good cops and bad cops. She knew that most police officers wanted to help people and do the right thing, but she also knew that power could change people, and some officers forgot why they became police in the first place. "We're starting a new community group to look at police training and rules," Chief Roberts said. "Would you be interested in joining?" Marcus thought for a moment. "Yes, I would. But I don't want to just be there to make the department look good. I want to help make real change." "That's exactly what we need," Chief Roberts said. She meant it. As Marcus left the police station, he saw a small group of people holding signs outside. The signs said things like, "Justice for Marcus" and "End Police Racism Now." Marcus walked over to them. They cheered when they saw him. "Thank you for your support," Marcus told them. "But I want you to know that I'm working with the police now to make things better. I hope you'll give them a chance to change." Some people in the group didn't like hearing this. They wanted to stay angry, but others nodded. They understood that real change would take work from both sides. That evening, Marcus got a surprise phone call. It was from a national TV news show. They wanted him to come to New York to talk about what happened to him. "This is your chance to tell your story to millions of people," the TV producer said. "We'll pay for your flight and hotel. You'll be on live TV." Marcus was not sure what to do. He had never been on TV before. He had never even been to New York. He called his sister Lisa for advice. "You should do it," Lisa said. "Think about all the people who go through what you went through but don't get justice. You can speak for them." The next week, Marcus found himself sitting in a bright TV studio in New York. Lights shined on him. People with headsets ran around checking things. The famous TV host smiled at him as someone fixed her microphone. "We're on in 1 minute," a man with a clipboard said. Marcus took a deep breath. He wasn't sure what he was going to say. He had practiced with Lisa, but now his mind felt blank. Then he thought about the look on Officer Heller's face when he knocked over his food. He thought about all the people who had been treated badly by people with power. He thought about the chance to make things better. The red light on the camera turned on. The host smiled at the camera. "Today we're talking with Marcus Johnson. His story of being harassed by a police officer went viral last week. The officer was fired just hours after the incident. Marcus, thank you for being here." Marcus looked into the camera. His nervousness was gone. He knew exactly what he wanted to say. "Thank you for having me. I'm here because what happened to me happens to people every day. The only difference is that mine was caught on video. I want to talk about how we can make sure everyone is treated with respect, no matter what they look like or where they come from." As Marcus spoke, millions of people across the country listened. Among them was Officer Heller, sitting alone in his living room. For the first time, he really heard what Marcus was saying, and he began to understand. After Marcus appeared on the national TV show, his life changed in ways he never expected. His phone rang all the time with calls from people who saw him on TV. Many people wrote to him on social media to thank him for speaking up. Some shared their own stories about bad experiences with police. A famous basketball player even called to say he wanted to help Marcus start a program to improve relations between police and the community. Marcus felt good about the chance to help others, but he also felt tired. He was not used to being in the public eye. He missed his quiet life and normal work days. One morning, he turned off his phone and went to his favorite park. He sat on a bench and watched kids playing. For a little while, he felt peace. But as he sat there, a police car pulled up nearby. Marcus felt his heart beat faster. Even though he knew most police officers were good people who wanted to help, he still felt nervous when he saw a police car now. A female officer got out of the car and walked toward him. It was Officer Daniels, the one who had helped him the day of the incident with Officer Heller. She was not in her police uniform today. She wore normal clothes, jeans, and a blue sweater. "Mind if I join you?" she asked. Marcus moved over on the bench. "Not at all." Officer Daniels sat down. For a minute, they both watched the kids playing. "I saw you on TV," she said finally. "You did a good job." "Thanks," Marcus said. "I was nervous." "You didn't look nervous. You looked like you knew exactly what you wanted to say." Officer Daniels smiled. "That's why I wanted to talk to you. The department is starting a new training program for officers. We want to teach them better ways to talk to people and handle difficult situations. I thought you might have some ideas." Marcus was surprised. "You want my advice?" "Yes," Officer Daniels said. "You're smart, you're fair, and you've seen firsthand what happens when an officer does the wrong thing. Your voice would be valuable." Marcus thought about it. "I'd like to help, but I don't know much about police training." "You know about being treated badly by someone with power. That's what we need to understand better." Officer Daniels gave him her card. "Think about it." As Officer Daniels walked back to her car, Marcus felt something change inside him. He was no longer just a victim of a bad situation. He could be part of making things better. Meanwhile, Officer Heller was having a hard time finding a new job. No one wanted to hire a police officer who had been fired for discrimination. He had applied for security jobs and even tried to get work as a night guard at a mall, but as soon as people found out who he was, they said no. His wife, Karen, was worried about their money problems. "What are we going to do, Brian?" "The bills keep coming." Officer Heller didn't have an answer. He felt angry at the world. He blamed Marcus, the police department, the people who took videos, everyone except himself. One day, he was at the employment office filling out forms when a man sat down next to him. It was Jim Robinson, the retired police officer who had talked to him at the coffee shop. "How's it going?" Jim asked. "How do you think it's going?" Officer Heller said bitterly. "No one will hire me. My savings are almost gone. My wife might leave me." Jim nodded. "That's tough, but you know what's tougher? Admitting you made a mistake." Officer Heller looked away. "I was just doing my job." "No, you weren't," Jim said firmly. "Your job was to protect and serve, not to harass and bully. The sooner you admit that, the sooner you can start to fix your life." Something in Jim's words finally got through to Officer Heller. Maybe it was because he had nothing left to lose. Maybe it was because deep down he knew Jim was right. "What am I supposed to do?" Officer Heller asked. "I can't change what happened." "No, but you can change what happens next," Jim said. "Start by saying sorry, not to get your job back, but because you mean it." Across town, Marcus was at his first meeting with the police training committee. The meeting was in a big room at the police department. There were 10 people around a table, 4 police officers, 3 community leaders, 2 city officials, and Marcus. Police Chief Roberts started the meeting. "Thank you all for being here. We have a chance to make real change in how our officers are trained. Let's start by hearing from each of you about what you think is most important." When it was Marcus's turn to speak, he felt nervous again. But he remembered what Officer Daniels had said about his voice being valuable. "I think the most important thing is for officers to see people as people first," Marcus said. "Not as threats or problems or stereotypes, just as people who deserve respect." The room was quiet for a moment. Then an older police officer named Captain Wilson spoke up. "I've been on the force for 30 years. Things have changed a lot in that time, mostly for the better. But Mr. Johnson is right. We need to do better at seeing people as people." The meeting went on for 2 hours. They talked about many ideas for better training. By the end, they had a plan to start. The new training would include lessons on how to talk to people without making them feel threatened, how to recognize when personal feelings might be affecting decisions, and how to de-escalate tense situations. As Marcus was leaving the meeting, Chief Roberts stopped him. "There's someone who wants to meet with you," she said. "It's up to you if you want to." "Who is it?" Marcus asked. "Brian Heller," Chief Roberts said, "the former officer from the incident." Marcus was shocked. "Why does he want to see me?" "He says he wants to apologize," Chief Roberts said, "but you don't have to meet him if you don't want to." Marcus didn't know what to think. Part of him wanted to say no. Why should he have to listen to Officer Heller? But another part of him was curious. Was the apology real? Could people really change? "I'll think about it," Marcus told Chief Roberts. That night, Marcus talked to his sister Lisa about the offer to meet Officer Heller. "I don't think you should do it," Lisa said. "He doesn't deserve your time." "Maybe not," Marcus said. "But what if this is a chance for real change? Not just for him, but for others too?" "What do you mean?" Lisa asked. "If someone like Officer Heller can learn and change, maybe there's hope for others too," Marcus explained. "Maybe our story could help more people understand each other better." After thinking about it for 3 days, Marcus decided to meet with Officer Heller. They agreed to meet at a small coffee shop. Marcus got there first and sat at a table in the corner. He felt nervous but also strangely calm, like he was doing the right thing. When Officer Heller walked in, Marcus almost didn't recognize him. He looked older and tired. His shoulders were slumped, not proud and strong like before. He saw Marcus and walked slowly to the table. "Thank you for meeting me," Officer Heller said quietly as he sat down. Marcus just nodded. He waited to hear what Officer Heller would say next. Officer Heller sat across from Marcus at the small coffee shop table. His hands shook slightly as he held his cup. The coffee shop was quiet, with only a few other people there. Soft music played in the background. Through the window they could see people walking by, going about their normal lives. "I don't know where to start," Officer Heller said, looking down at his coffee instead of at Marcus. "Why did you want to meet me?" Marcus asked. His voice was calm, but firm. Officer Heller took a deep breath. "I wanted to say I'm sorry. What I did to you was wrong. There's no excuse for it." Marcus studied the man's face. He was trying to see if the apology was real, or if Officer Heller was just saying what he thought Marcus wanted to hear. "Why did you do it?" Marcus asked. "Why did you knock my food over that day?" Officer Heller was quiet for a long time. When he finally spoke, his voice was low. "I was angry, not at you, at everything. My job, my life, my boss. I felt like I had no control over anything. When I saw you just sitting there enjoying your lunch, something inside me snapped. I wanted to have power over something, even if it was just ruining someone's lunch." "That's a terrible reason," Marcus said. "I know," Officer Heller agreed. "It's not a reason at all. It's just what happened in my head. I've had a lot of time to think about it since then." "And what have you learned?" Marcus asked. "That I was wrong. That I let my personal problems affect how I treated others. That I had biases I didn't want to admit." Officer Heller finally looked directly at Marcus. "And that I hurt you for no reason. I'm truly sorry." Marcus didn't say anything for a moment. He was surprised by Officer Heller's honesty. He had expected excuses or a half-hearted apology. "I appreciate your apology," Marcus said finally. "But why tell me? Why not just move on with your life?" "Because I can't move on," Officer Heller said, "and I don't think I should. What I did was wrong. I need to own that and try to be better, and I thought maybe if you were willing you could help me understand how to do that." Marcus was surprised again. "You want my help? After what you did?" "No, it's a lot to ask," Officer Heller said. "But I've seen you on TV. I've read about the work you're doing with the police department. You're trying to make things better, not just be angry. I admire that." Marcus didn't know how to feel. Part of him was still angry at this man who had humiliated him for no reason. Another part of him saw someone who seemed to be truly sorry and wanting to change. "I can't promise anything," Marcus said, "but I'm willing to listen." They talked for over an hour. Officer Heller told Marcus about his childhood, growing up in a tough neighborhood with a father who believed that strength was everything and showing feelings was weakness. He talked about becoming a police officer because he wanted to help people, but then slowly becoming bitter as the job wore him down. He admitted that he had developed unfair views about people based on how they looked or where they lived. Marcus shared his own experiences too. He told Officer Heller about growing up black in America, about the lessons his parents taught him about how to act around police, about the times he had been followed in stores or pulled over for no reason. As they talked, something unexpected happened. They began to see each other as people, not just as the bad officer and the victim. They didn't agree on everything. There were moments of tension and disagreement, but they were talking, really talking. When they finally got ready to leave, Officer Heller asked, "What happens now?" "I don't know," Marcus said honestly, "but I think this was a good start." The next day, Marcus got a call from Officer Daniels. "How did the meeting go?" she asked. "Better than I expected," Marcus said. "He seems genuinely sorry." "Do you believe him?" Officer Daniels asked. "I think I do," Marcus said, surprising himself. "He's got a long way to go, but I think he really wants to change." "That's good to hear," Officer Daniels said. "Actually, that's why I'm calling. The department is planning a public forum next month. We want to talk openly with the community about policing and how to do better. We were hoping you would speak." "I'd be happy to," Marcus said. Then he had an idea. What if Officer Heller spoke, too? He could talk about what he learned and how he's trying to change. There was silence on the phone. "That's an interesting idea," Officer Daniels said finally. "I'm not sure how people would react." "They might be angry," Marcus admitted. "But isn't that part of the healing process? Hearing the truth, even when it's hard?" "Let me talk to Chief Roberts about it," Officer Daniels said. 2 weeks later, Marcus found himself on a stage in the city's main community center. The room was packed with people: community members, police officers, city officials, and news reporters. Marcus sat next to Officer Daniels and Chief Roberts. On his other side was Officer Heller, looking nervous in a suit that seemed too big for him now. Chief Roberts spoke first, talking about the department's new training programs and community outreach efforts. Then Officer Daniels talked about specific changes they were making in how officers responded to calls and interacted with the public. When it was Marcus's turn to speak, he stood up and looked out at the crowd. He saw faces of all colors, ages, and backgrounds. He saw hope and skepticism, interest and doubt. "6 months ago, I was just a guy getting lunch," Marcus began. "Then my food got knocked over by a police officer, and my life changed forever. At first, I was angry. Then I was tired of being angry. Then I decided to try to make something good come from something bad." Marcus told the crowd about his work with the police department, about the changes they were making, about his hopes for the future. He didn't sugarcoat things or pretend that one incident could fix years of distrust, but he spoke honestly about the progress being made. "And now," Marcus said, "I want to introduce someone else, someone who has his own story to tell. Brian Heller." There were murmurs in the crowd as the former officer stood up. Some people looked angry. Others looked curious. Officer Heller stepped up to the microphone. His hands were shaking again, but his voice was steady. "My name is Brian Heller," he said, "and I'm the officer who knocked over Marcus Johnson's food that day. I was wrong. I acted out of bias and anger. I deserved to lose my job. But thanks to Marcus's willingness to talk to me, I've learned that losing my job wasn't the end of my story. It was the beginning of a new one. A story about learning, changing, and trying to be better." As Officer Heller spoke, the room grew quiet. People were listening. Not everyone would forgive him. Not everyone would believe he had changed. But they were listening, and for now, that was enough. 1 year had passed since the day Officer Heller knocked over Marcus's food. So much had changed in that time. The story of what happened that day, and what happened afterward, had spread far beyond their city. News shows from around the country had covered the story. A famous documentary maker was even making a film about it. On a sunny morning, Marcus walked into the community center where he now worked 3 days a week. He had left his construction job to run a new program called Building Bridges. The program brought police officers and young people together to talk, learn from each other, and work on community projects. The city paid for the program, and it was already showing good results. Marcus went to his small office and checked his calendar. Today was a big day. A group of police chiefs from other cities was coming to learn about the program. They wanted to start similar programs in their own cities. As Marcus prepared his notes for the meeting, there was a knock on his door. He looked up to see Brian Heller standing there. Brian no longer looked like the angry officer who had harassed Marcus a year ago. He was thinner, his face softer. He wore regular clothes, a blue button-up shirt and khaki pants, not a police uniform. "Good morning," Brian said. "Ready for the big presentation?" "Almost," Marcus said. "Just going over my notes one last time." Brian came in and sat down. He now worked part-time for the Building Bridges program too. He wasn't a police officer anymore and never would be again. But his experience, both the mistakes he had made and the lessons he had learned, made him valuable to the program. He spoke to new police officers about bias and anger. He talked to community groups about change and forgiveness. It wasn't always easy. Some people still didn't trust him or believe he had really changed. But he kept trying. "I still get nervous before these big meetings," Brian admitted. "Me too," Marcus said. "But it's good nervous, like we're doing something that matters." They worked together for the next hour, preparing for the meeting. They had come a long way from that first tense conversation in the coffee shop. They weren't exactly friends, there was too much history for that, but they were partners in something important. At 10:30, the meeting room started to fill up. 6 police chiefs from cities across the state took seats around the big table. Chief Roberts was there too, along with the mayor and several community leaders. Everyone was curious about the program that had got so much attention. Marcus stood up to start the presentation. Thank you all for coming today. A year ago, something bad happened in our city. A police officer, he nodded toward Brian, harassed me for no good reason and knocked my food to the ground. He lost his job because of it. That could have been the end of the story. Just another sad example of what's wrong between police and communities. But instead, it became the beginning of something new. For the next hour, Marcus and Brian explained how the Building Bridges program worked. They showed pictures of police officers and teenagers working together to clean up parks, fix old buildings, and help older people in the community. They shared numbers showing that trust between police and young people had improved in areas where the program was active. The most important part, Marcus explained, is that people talk to each other, really talk, about hard things, about fears and hopes and mistakes. We don't pretend everything is perfect. We don't say that talking fixes everything, but it's a start. After the presentation, the police chiefs asked many questions. They were interested but also worried. Would this work in their cities? Would their officers participate? Would their communities trust the program? It's not easy, Brian told them honestly. Some days are hard, some conversations are painful, but it's worth it. During lunch, one of the police chiefs came to speak privately with Marcus. He was an older man with gray hair and serious eyes. I've been a police officer for 30 years, he said. I've seen a lot of programs come and go. Most don't last. Most don't really change anything. Why is this one different? Marcus thought about the question. Because we don't pretend there's a quick fix. Because we start with the truth, even when it's ugly. And because we believe people can change, both officers and community members. The police chief nodded slowly. I want to believe that's true. It is, Marcus said. I've seen it. After the meeting ended and everyone left, Marcus and Brian stayed to clean up the room. They worked quietly, putting away chairs and throwing away empty coffee cups. Do you think they'll actually start programs in their cities? Brian asked. Some will, Marcus said. Not all. Change is hard. Yes, it is, Brian agreed. He stopped what he was doing and looked at Marcus. Can I ask you something? Something I've wanted to ask for a long time? Sure, Marcus said. Have you forgiven me? Brian asked. Really forgiven me? Marcus put down the papers he was holding. This was a question he had asked himself many times. I've let go of the anger, he said finally. I believe you're sorry and that you're trying to be better. Is that forgiveness? I think so. But I haven't forgotten. I can't. Brian nodded. That's fair. More than fair. They finished cleaning in silence. As they walked out of the building together, they saw a group of teenagers and police officers gathering in the park across the street. It was one of the Building Bridges groups getting ready to plant trees along the sidewalk. Want to go help? Marcus asked. Definitely, Brian said. They crossed the street together. One of the teenagers saw them coming and waved. Hey, Mr. Johnson, Mr. Heller, we're planting oak trees today. They'll be here for like 100 years. Marcus smiled at the teenager's excitement. That's the point, he said. We're not just fixing today, we're building for tomorrow. As Marcus picked up a shovel and started to help dig a hole for a tree, he thought about how strange life could be. 1 year ago, he was just a guy getting lunch. Then a bad thing happened. But from that bad thing, something good had grown. Not perfect, not finished, but good. Nearby, Brian was showing a young officer and 2 teenagers how to properly plant a tree so it would grow straight and strong. His face was serious as he explained why the roots needed room to spread out. Marcus watched for a moment, then went back to his own work. The sun was warm on his back. The shovel felt solid in his hands. Around him, people who might once have feared or hated each other were working side by side. They were planting trees that would give shade to people they would never meet. It wasn't a perfect ending. Real life rarely has perfect endings. But it was a good new beginning, and sometimes that's enough.